self-care is not selfish, but sacrifice is going to be important. So, you got to remember your parents or your grandparents sacrificed for you. So now you got to sacrifice for them. And in the long run, it pays off. She, like I said, I held her hand when she transitioned. It was the most beautiful thing ever.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting show, the About That Wallet podcast, where we help the sandwich generation build strong financial habits so that they can spend money, talk about money, and even enjoy their money with confidence. And I had also opportunity to bring somebody on that has been doing this stuff and providing relevant information to the sandwich generation, such as yourselves, that is going to be talking about the balancing family responsibilities while teaching the skills in this digital age. How you doing today, Antoinette?
I'm great, Anthony. It's so nice to be here. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your tribe.
Yeah, thank you. So when it comes to raising your children in this digital age, what was the hardest part about taking away the technology?
Well, Anthony, I'm going to be honest with you and your listeners. When I raised my sons, digital wasn't popular. I mean, we still had the PC. We didn't have smartphones. We had, they're young. My oldest is 32. My youngest is 28. So I didn't really have to raise them in the digital era when they were young. But as they got older, I remember, getting them their first smartphone, things like that. It wasn't bad because I'm gonna be honest with you. I had been with IBM for like 20 some years. So I grew up, with the PC. We introduced it. So I was very flexible. Unlike, a lot of parents like, oh my gosh, this is not good. This is not going to last. But it was a transition, went from playing board games to playing digital games. So it was a transition, but we learned together.
Yeah. Like, what was that first inkling from, you were in that industry to like say, you know what, I'm going to wait for my child. What caused you to do that?
Well, it's funny that you say that because we introduced the PC back in the 90s. And I remember bringing home a PC to work from home before work from home was popular. And my oldest was maybe a year or so. And they had games called key bangers. And you would literally put your kid in front of the monitor and the keyboard, and he would just bang away at the keys, and the alphabet would pop up, like A, B, and that was they were learning. They were just like banging the keyboard, but they were learning. And I was like, I mean, would it be better for me to use a book and just teach him? But it was something about that screen that captured his attention more than my voice. So, it was like, okay, we're going to go with this. So I wasn't hesitant. I was like, okay, I got to learn more things about that, and ended up getting more floppy disks with games. So it was really good, but I was never the type like it now where you would just put the kid in front of a computer and walk away. Like now kids have tablets and smartphones and you just walk away and leave it. It was never like that when my sons were young. They were literally on your lap, playing the games with you.
What was his first game did you play? Do you remember?
It was a key banger.
Just called a key banger?
That's what it was. The key banger. But let me think now. Oh man, you taking me way back, Anthony. Oh my God. I can't remember. But it's so funny that you asked me that because, talking about nostalgia, I was scrolling through Facebook feed the other day, and they were showing Pong, the Atari games.
Yes,
and that's the games I grew up on. And they were so slow, but we were so enthralled. So no, I should answer your question. I can't remember the first game, but it was probably, a reading, like an ABC type game or something like that. Or Sesame Street game, because of course Sesame Street has been around forever, and that's like the best TV show. So they had games as well. So it was probably, either Barney or Sesame Street or something like that was helping them learn the alphabet and numbers and things like that.
Yeah, because I remember growing up, the first PC we had in the house was, I think it was 95. And back when you had to learn DOS and actually start coding in green and, the green screen and everything like that before they had all the fun colors. And I was like, this is amazing. And it took forever to load up the CDs for the disc and everything like that. That was so fun. It wasn't
Yeah.
until like 98 we actually got the internet. So, you know,
Yes.
like dial up, because everybody else, like we were able to afford it.
Uh-huh.
So so once you got on like the internet, like I'm just curious of like what did you do to kind of like shield them away from like going on the internet when the internet was coming out with dial up like AOL or something?
Right. And you know what, Anthony? They weren't that interested. I mean,
Really?
96, Malik was born in 96, Taylor was born in 92. So like you said, 98, they were still young, right?
Hmm.
So they were still just outside playing and discovering the world. So I'm trying to think when, and to be honest with you, I mean, they worked on computers for their jobs and stuff like that, but they were never just sucked into that, scrolling and always had to be online because I made sure that we were outside and we traveled and, we played games. And I mean, they never really got sucked into social media. And once I got sucked, I think I got sucked into it more before they did. But, they never I guess I'm fortunate. Even now, I don't have to, worry about tech neck and all that because they're just not into it like that. So they knew they were in the beginning like you were. But that dial up, I still remember that, you got mail type thing. It just they didn't go down that rabbit hole.
So raising a son with special needs also has its own unique challenges. Can you kind of talk about how did you navigate them with today's fast-paced and digital connected world when you were raising them?
Yeah. Oh, Anthony, that's a great question. Yes. So my oldest son, he was a 3-month preemie, 2.5 pounds, had a lot of medical concerns and surgeries, which kind of, with all the pain meds and stuff, kind of jacked up, his brain. So he is intellectually disabled. Um, that was difficult because he not only and what I want to preface with any anybody with disabilities, I feel are more intelligent because they have to live in a parallel world. They live in their world, but then they're forced to live in our world. And they've got to make sure that they can, connect on both. So I think they have more intellect than we do. So working with him, whether we was reading a book or, being on a computer, I had to go slower, like had to take my time and then be repetitive in it to make sure that he understood. And sometimes even in today, with today's modern technology, I'm scared, because people are now using technology in a negative way, as opposed to when we first started, we were sharing information, we were helping people learn and grow, and whether it's finances or, just daily activities, now people are hacking you.
Yeah.
They're using artificial intelligence in a way that shouldn't be used. And when you have a special need, it's hard to decipher, because you just want to make sure that you are doing the right thing. And a lot of people take full advantage of not only those with special needs, but with elderly, or just with people that are not comfortable on social media. So I'm glad that I'm doing what I do because I can be on the lookout, and I can always talk to him and tell. And I even do it with my husband. It's like, look at this, look at this text, look at this message. This is not right. If this, this URL is not right. It's very frustrating, because I want him to be able to get on the internet and connect with people, but I'm afraid that he'll be scammed, because he has been. And, once burnt, twice shot. And so it's scary. And I'm sick of them. I am so sick of scammers and hackers. I could just, and we've all been approached or gotten those emails, you ready to pay your bill? And it's like, what are you talking about? Like this,
Right.
it's crazy. Yeah.
You need your tires changed or something. Like, what?
Yeah.
I
No.
had one recently, like, oh, yeah, you need your oil change. I was like, no, I just came from you guys.
I know, right? It's
Crazy.
crazy. It's crazy. And especially, like I said, when in our position, we have subscriptions, right? We have
Yo,
subscriptions to different. And then when we just automatically, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you can get so caught up like, okay, now it's time to renew your subscription, update your, billing information. And you're thinking, oh yeah. No,
Mm-hmm.
no. You've got to screw and even when people call you, and they say, is this Antoinette? And I'm like, don't say yes, right?
Right.
You never say
Yep.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, is this Antoinette? Or hello, can you hear me? And I'm like, first of all, I'm not answering the call if I don't know the number, but if they call enough times, I figure, okay, somebody has my number. And it's like, I don't even fall into that trap. I've had people to say, years and years and years ago, say, oh, we've got this videos of you. And I'm like, really? I want to see them. But I don't remember doing a video, so don't be lying on me,
Right.
Yeah. So right, Anthony? You probably got stories to tell as well.
Yeah. So how did you help him like develop some of the skills and confidence doing some of those, like while he's out and about, like what skills or tactics that you use to kind of help him build the confidence while he's out and about? Did you do like test runs in the house with like, hey, if somebody say this, what you gonna say?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And his youngest brother does the same thing. Look, you get a text like this, don't answer. Call me. And I have access to his email, so I can, I'll check his email. And then of course, mommy will go in the room and look at the messages. I mean, you want them to have a sense of, normalcy, a sense of, independence, but you still, so like I said, I'll go in there or, I'll say, hey, Tyre, come here. Let me show you something. And he can understand that. So I'll show him and, hopefully, he remembers it. But these scammers can circumvent so much stuff. So, yeah, if something new happens, I'm always telling him. And he's understanding
Right.
to be on the lookout, because if he gets a call and it's coming in like, look at this, what's this? I'm like, let it go. So, yeah, really being cognizant. And I say that to any parents with children that, are not special needs. Be aware, because they're in their room or they're in the back seat of the car or over in mom's house and nana's house, and they're just, and they get caught up, and because social media is a highlight reel and everything is supposed to be good, they want to be good like their friends or their family. And then, they can get suckered in. And I feel so badly for a lot of these kids. And you read it every day, they will commit suicide, because they got hacked. It's crazy. It's really, and I feel sorry for some of, kids that are out there that don't have somebody, a parent or a guardian or a teacher or educator, someone that's going to say, hey, and they're our kids, they're our future. We got to look out for them. I don't care what say, oh, you're a helicopter parent. Well, so what?
Yeah.
I'd rather be a helicopter parent and have, things
and
work.
have your child. Right.
Bingo. Hey, look, that's my job. I take my job very seriously. When I decided to have children, it came with conditions, lifelong conditions. And I take my role very seriously.
Yeah. And, as a proud mom, having that discussion with your children now, it's going to change their lives for a lifetime, yes. I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, because you mentioned your husband, and because do you also have aging parents as well that you're taking care of?
No, Anthony, my grandma who raised my sister and myself, I did have her. She lived with us for 16 years before she passed away at the age of 98 in 2009. And so she did, when we were a sandwich generation where I was taking care of my younger kids and my grandma. And then after my grandma died, my husband's mother got sick and we moved her in with us as well for, a couple of months. So yes, I've raised the boys while raising my grandma. And then after she passed, we brought my mother-in-law in. So yes, I understand completely about, being a sandwich generation individual, because, you have both, and I had the son and I had, the grandma, and that was like second generation, not like my mom, right? So that was difficult, but it worked. I'm glad I was blessed to be able to do that.
So what were the conversations like? Like, I'm thinking about like moving in his mother and be like, okay, she's here now. What are we gonna do? What was that like?
Well, let's see. Well, no, I mean, it was with the mother-in-law, it was a little bit more difficult
Mm,
because she wasn't the nicest person in the world.
gotcha.
But we did it. And I just like with my husband, he had, my husband and I weren't even married 2 years when my grandma moved in with us.
Mm,
And that was a change for him because we literally met, married within like 3 years. We've been married now 34 years.
wow,
But when we
congrats.
got together, it was boom, boom, boom. We were older. So he adjusted to that. And of course, everything wasn't all gravy and sunshine and roses. Um, but so when it came for her to come in, I had to do the same thing, right? That's what you do when you're married, right?
Yeah.
So we just bit the bullet, every day, just, okay, what does she need? What do we need? And just keep on going because, you just got to do what you got to do. Point blank, period.
Yeah. So somebody who's like thinking about it like right now, like, hey, we just had this discussion.
Mhm.
What are the things that you kind of wish that you had done sooner or like had a discussion about before they even moved in?
Okay. So, Anthony, what we did, and it's so funny now, you're making me think. See, my sister and I were really close. My grandma raised my sister and myself. My sister was killed in a car accident in
Oh,
1992.
sorry.
And yeah, and after that, I knew I had to move my grandma up with us. And we had only been married for 2 years. So the very first thing we did and what we had to do was we had just, we were newlyweds and we had just built a small home.
Yeah.
And we knew that that wasn't going to work. So we said, okay, this we got to do. So we bought the big house.
Mm,
I like to say the McMansion in Middletown because we knew that my grandma was coming in, that she was going to be aging. So we had to have a house, that had this, that, and the other. We were going to have kids and that. So that's the first thing we did. And not everybody could do that, right? But
right.
back in 93, that's what we decided to do. So, okay, bit the bullet, went into debt, which we'll talk about, and we get the big house because moving your elderly parent in, you have to take into consideration their health, right?
Yeah.
Will they be able to do the walking up and down? Well, where the bedroom going to be on the first floor? And it's weird because now we're of a particular age and our new home is a ranch because we don't want to be going up and down there.
I understand.
Those things are
That's
gone,
good.
right?
Right.
So yes, so you take into consideration your housing. And I know not everybody can do that, but
Hmm.
take into consideration your housing when, you're newly married or whatever. You might have to change where you live, right? You might have
Yeah.
to say, okay, you know, we got to move our parents in, our grandparents, whatever. So we've got to make sure it's comfortable for them because it's still family, right? I still
Hmm.
want my family with, I still want, everybody to be good. So that was the biggest consideration. And that's a big consideration, your home. And
Yeah.
again, it may be a difficult thing to do. You may have to sacrifice, work that overtime, whatever, whatever. But take into consideration your housing. Can everybody live comfortably? And is it big enough? Because if not, you're going to be like, so we got the big house. Like, okay, you on that wing, I'm on it, so you do that. And I have a sorority sister whose mom lives with her and her house is nice and the mom has her suite, and the bathroom and all that. So you want to take into consideration, especially if you have kids. And, just knowing that, all those trips that you want to take, you're not going to be able to do it, right? Because you want to be able to spend time with your loved ones. And it can get expensive too.
Right.
And the one thing that I didn't do that I wish I had done was that's a major tax write-off. I didn't realize,
Oh.
and after my grandma passed away, that a lot of the things that I did for her, whether it was driving to the store or medicine, I could have written that off, and I didn't.
Wow. Okay, so like, how did you find that out? Like from another tax professional, or?
Yes, I was literally, just going through the tax law once I started my own business and I started looking at the tax laws and stuff like that. And I'm like, Really? Like, wow. And now, and they didn't have what they have now, like, where they pay you to take care of your parents.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they owe me crazy money. They
Oh,
owe me
jeez.
those agencies weren't around. So here
Yeah.
I am. I was working full time, commuting 3 hours from Middletown to Westchester every day. I mean, I was doing it all, coming home, cooking,
Mhm.
cleaning, doctor's. I mean, I was doing all that. I never got paid any extra. But
Right.
had that been an option, oh, I would have took a leave of absence, because my grandma did become, hospice eligible, you know.
Okay.
So I I had to make certain sacrifices, but none of that was available when I was caring
So,
for my grandma.
so what was one of those programs that people can kind of chime
I
into?
see it on the news where I mean, on the commercials, like, we'll pay you to take care of your elder. There's companies,
Oh,
like these nursing companies. Yeah. I
I
see
didn't
them
know
all
that.
like in Philly, right? But yeah,
Hmm.
they're literally companies that they say from day one, you get benefits. I mean, because what it does is it takes the burden off of the state, right? It takes the burden off of the federal government if they can
Right.
pay a loved one. And you think about it, who's going to take care of a loved one better than a loved one, right?
Right.
So we had, you know, a hospice nurse come in just a couple of hours a day, and that was only based on my grandma's income level. Like, and
Hmm.
unfortunately, my grandma, she was born in 1911, so none of her jobs really were Social Security eligible. She was a maid most of her life, so she
Hmm.
didn't pay into the system. And if you don't pay into the system, what happens? You don't get
You
anything
don't get
back
anything.
from the system.
Yep.
We got that fight going on right now, right? So she was only allocated a couple of hours of home nursing. And then I was responsible for everything else. And there's stories, of things where she was falling or, had things occurred when I wasn't there or there wasn't anybody there. And then have my sons come home from school to find Nana on the floor. I mean, it was just a lot. So I wish
Yeah.
that they had those options when my grandma lived with us. But yeah, you want to take into consideration your housing, your mental health, take some time,
Mm.
get away. Self-care is not selfish, but sacrifice is going to be important. So, you got to remember your parents or your grandparents sacrificed for you. So now you got to sacrifice for them. And in the long run, it pays off. Like I said, I held her hand when she transitioned. It was the most beautiful thing ever.
Oh.
She took her last breath and she lived a great life. So that's something I'll have. My sons will have, memories of growing up. So that way, when we get old, Malik says he's gonna put me in the garage, but when they get old, they know it's normal to take care of your elderly
Right.
parents.
And it's good that they got to see the care that you did
Yes.
for them. So it's not going to be taboo by that time comes.
Like you said, when my grandma took my sister and myself, and she was 50
Right.
and she had already raised 6 kids, so and back then they got married when they were 13, started having babies when they were 14. So my grandma was 50 when she brought us in, but by today's standards, that's not old, but that was
Right.
old then, right? So for her to live to be 98, it was wonderful, because we had that second generation teaching,
Hmm.
but it wasn't. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, now you think about it. Yeah, that's another whole show we need to talk about.
Right. Well, this is what the show is about, to help people think about their situation, but also it's like to take into account of like what questions can you start thinking about for your family to kind of go beyond what your parents had already provided on that platform for you to kind of take your now family to the next levels. That generational leverage, I would say. I liked it that way.
And yeah, and I like what you're doing because it's not something that you think about on a regular, right?
Hmm.
But having a podcast where you can pull up this information, whether it's 2024, 2027, 2032, whatever, you can always go back and get that information. Unlike us, we just had to live and learn by experience. We didn't have, blogs and social media and podcasts and YouTube. We didn't have that. So that's why I'm digging this now. And I'm loving the fact that not only you, but myself, I have a podcast called Boomers and Beyond, when we talk about these things, because one day when I pass through the clouds, someone else is going to be able to pull that stuff down from the clouds and learn from whatever it was that we discussed or I discussed. So I like this. I really, and I applaud you for doing what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. And because I mean, where we at right now in this digital era, we gotta figure out how can we still maintain our personal sanity, along with how do we move forward in real life, because everything is so digital, we so distant. So to have somebody in our space, it's kind of like, oh, you really get to see how I actually live and not what I really want to show you on camera and on social media. So it's like, what are we going to do? But with that being said, I want to talk about the futures, because I can sit and talk to you all day about different strategies and how we're going to navigate life and how you've done so many great things for your family. But I want to take this moment to talk about you. Let's be selfish a little bit. What is next for you in your professional journey as a parent, a mentor, and digital leader?
Well, thank you, Anthony. That's a great question. Every day I always tell people when I go out and say people, whether you're in a grocery store. Yesterday I went to the DMV to get my car inspected, and they're like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good. How you doing?" And I'm like, I wake up looking up, everything else is gravy, baby. That's my motto. When I wake up looking up, everything else is gravy, baby, because there is no guarantee. Like I said, I lost my sister, in a tragic car accident. She was 29. But then on the other hand, I held the hand of my grandma who transitioned at the age of 98. So I've seen both ends, right? So each day is a new day and it's not promised. So I love learning. That's how you keep this muscle alive. So with the blog, with the podcast, with the social media management, with my clients, that's keeping me going. I mean, because it literally changes overnight, right? We wake up and find out there's a new algorithm, there's a new this, there's a new that. So that's keeping my mind active. I'm 63 years old, so I'm keeping my mind active.
You don't look 63, by the way.
But. Oh, thank you. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, next year is 64. Oh my gosh, yes. Right. And so keeping my mind active is what keeps me going. I did corporate America for 32 years. I haven't worked for anybody since 2018. I've been working for myself. I love what I'm doing. So that's the good thing. My sons, I love my sons. They're fantastic. They're respectful. They're honest. They're hardworking. And, they're here with you. They're still here with us. And they can stay here until forever. This is their home when we're dead and gone. So they're doing their thing. They're going to work. They have their relationships, whatever. So that keeps me grounded, right? When I see my son, I mean, I made them, right?
Right.
But it's scary. As a Black man, you're out there. So every time they go out, I'm scared until they come back in the house. They got a target on their back, all this stuff that's going on in the world. So I pray every day. I pray and push. God, please, keep them safe, because this world don't care that they got a good parent, a good mom and a good dad, and come from a good home and a college educated, all that. So my sons keep me, excited and happy. My husband and I, married 34 years, known each other 36 years. I ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. We good, right? So every day is a good day. That's what keeps me going, both personally and professionally. But the bottom line is, it's all about the give back. If I can share words of wisdom, if I can share a smile, if I can share positive, that is how my grandma raised me. She's like, just wake up happy. You don't always have to feel good. I got the aches and the pains and all that, but you give it another chance. And so when I go out to the grocery store, to the mall, to an event, this smile you see, this is me all day, every day.
Good.
Very rarely do I have a negative, because it's all about the give. I'm giving back to you. You giving. It's a ripple. If we could just give back the positive, how much better everybody would be feeling. So that is like, I don't care what race, religion. My husband's a Muslim. My son's a Muslim. I'm a Christian. We live good. Life is good. Like I eat well, I sleep well. I know people that don't. So I'm blessed. So if I could just, pay it forward, whether it's with a smile, an attitude, whatever, that's what keeps me going. That's what motivates me, to just live life, because you only get one go round, right? You
That's
ain't
true.
coming back.
Right.
I don't care. And, my husband and I get into that all the time. I don't know if, you got the virgins over here, you got the streets paved with gold. But you know what? I'm here right now. Let's make sure that this is right now, right? The other stuff, let it take care of itself. But as long as everything is right now, I'm good. I'm good. I'm blessed, and I just want to pay it forward. So I work with. I'm a graduate of Delaware State College, class of '83, but it's now Delaware State University. So I give back as the corresponding secretary for Delaware State University Alumni Association. So when I go in the yard, I see the students and they're like so cool. And it's like, I just love being with them. I love participating. I love sharing. It's about, like I said, it's all about the give back, paying it forward. Anthony, what can you do today to make somebody feel good? Because you don't know what they're going through.
That's true. So true.
And the kids are going through a lot. They're going through so much. Yesterday, I was leaving DMV, like I said, and there was a young couple, young brother with a young sister, and I think they were dating. And they come out and they're walking out, and it was cool. And she had a hat on, her coat and thing, and she's like, I need that. And she pointed to his hat. He took his hat off and he gave it to her. And I was like, I said to them, I said, I like that. I said, that was nice. I acknowledged that because what he did was nice. That made the brother feel good, made the sister feel good, and they might have had a better day after me just acknowledging that, right? I could have said, oh, that was stupid, whatever. She should have had a hat on or whatever. But what that small gesture, really made me feel good. So I wanted to make them feel good. That's all it is. That is just all about the give back.
I love that. You ready for the final 4 questions?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Alrighty. Number 1, what does wealth mean to you?
Well, because it ain't about the money. Because we never gonna have enough money, right? Never have enough. Wealth is having, again, and this is funny, I'm gonna say this because my grandma used to say, I'm like, why is she saying that? When you wake up with your right mind, you wealthy, man. And I didn't understand that until I got to this age. It's like, I can still think right. I can still, dress. I still, I know what's going on. Wealth is feeling good. Like you don't have to feel like 100% good, but mentally, if you feel good, that you got your health is your wealth. That's what it is. That's what it is. Your health is your wealth. And whether it's physical or mental or psychological or emotional or whatever. Look, I got my bad days too. I miss my sister. I miss my grandma. I miss things how they used to be. But that doesn't stop me from, going forward and things. So wealth, it to me is being healthy, both, mental, physical, psychological. That's I feel rich. I still buy my scratchers. I'm still trying to get
I just bought a ticket too before this recording.
I know. I gotta go cash in my scratchers. Now yeah, I'll be like, yeah, that'd be cool. I could do this, do that. But really, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Number 2, what was your worst money mistake?
Ooh, I'm gonna take it back, man. Credit cards, y'all. Credit cards. Don't. No, credit cards. I was in debt put it this way. I started debt at college, and my husband said many years later, he said, had I known how much debt you had, we would have gotten married. No. No.
Okay.
I know, have it, emergency,
No.
credit cards.
Gotcha.
Mm.
I mean, I really need to just start a whole nother podcast that's called "What is your worst money mistake?" Because I got so many questions right now.
That would be a good one. That would be a good one. And that, and, I think I only bought one new car in my life. Everything else was used. Oh, leasing. Yeah, leasing and buying new cars. Not worth it. Not worth it. Yeah.
All right. Another show.
Yeah, that's another show.
Yeah. Well, you can just have me on your show. We can talk about
Yeah,
it.
you know what? After this, I'm sending you. Yeah, we definitely gonna have to get together and talk, because I want to hear your perspective on what's going on in your life, and how your generation looks at wealth and health, and how it plays out, and that's a good thing, because yeah, we need to talk. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk. All right. Number 3. What is, is there a book that inspired your journey or changed your perspective?
When you gave me this question, I had to think about it, and I'm still thinking about it. And you might have to bring me back on your show, because no, I can't think of one book in my mind. I mean, I used to read voraciously, like when libraries were popular. I've got books here, magazines. I read the Bible, but one that, nah, I can't really think of one that really. I contributed to a book, a Les Brown book, and it
Oh,
was entitled 77 Ways in Which Les Brown Changed My Life. And I was able to read, I was one of the contributors. And so I'm reading the 76 others. Again, remember I said it's all about the give back. What has that man said or done that changed your perspective or your life? And Mamie Brown's son, Les Brown, did. And so that one book, and I still have that book, and I'll send you the link to it. The stories, like I said, you don't realize, like Anthony, you don't realize the effect you're having on people by offering this platform, and you may never know. But what you're doing, that give back is amazing. So that one book, that our contributions to what Les Brown did for us, is probably one of the best books I read, because he's just a man, just a man that started speaking, and I remember seeing him back in the 80s. But he changed so many people's lives, and it's amazing how people are affected in different ways. So that's that book, I would say.
all right. Number 4. What is your favorite dish to make?
I love making collard greens and kale. More so, I love kale. Matter of fact, when I finish with you, I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I love kale. I love fresh kale. I mean, it's just good. Yeah. So, and I'm not a good cook. My grandma wasn't a good cook, so I'm not a really good cook. But I love, I love my crock pot. So kale and black eyed peas together, or kale and navy bean. I just love that food. I just love it. It's like I love my kale. Just a little bit of apple cider vinegar, a little oil, smoked turkey. Oh man,
Oh.
now I'm hungry.
So, Antoinette, we're coming down to the final question, which is, where could the listeners learn more about you, your services, or even just get in touch with you for what you're doing?
Thank you, Anthony. Before I give that, again, thank you for doing what you're doing, for sharing using your platform so that others can share their stories, because you're definitely making a difference. Again, it's all about the give back. So I have a Linktree ID, Linktree, everybody know the Linktree, and it's just A Blake Enterprises. So Linktree, if you go to LINK, TR.EE, A Blake Enterprises. A Blake Enterprises is my company's name. But if you use the hashtag Delaware Blogger on Google, I will pop up all over the place. You will see my blog, my podcast, my social media handles, all that. My Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Pinterest, my X, all that stuff is out there. But Linktree ID is A Blake Enterprises. And, it will list everything from, my email address, my business, all of that. So yeah, the website, all of that's there. My blog, delblogger.com, everything's out there.
And folks, she's not lying because I just did it. So
yep, you said like everything, up, right?
Everything.
There she is.
Right there, everything.
There, Delaware Blogger. That's most people know me as a Delaware Blogger. That's a moniker that I tagged myself back in 2010. Nice. I'm not the only one, but most people oh my God, you're the Delaware Blogger. See, and that's my dash in between.
Love it. Well, Antoinette, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for giving back to the community and constantly giving back to not just your community, but to our community as well. And I just want to say on behalf of all of our listeners, thank you so much for sharing your stories and continue on, doing the best you can as a mom, more so, and, doing that self-care, being selfish. So me personally, I greatly appreciate you coming through. And everybody else, y'all be safe. We out. Peace.